March 4, 1944. High above the shattered rooftops of Berlin, the sky cracked open with the thunder of engines. It was a crisp, early spring morning, the air biting cold at 25,000 feet, carrying the acrid scent of burning factories below. Columns of black smoke rose like funeral pyres from the city's heart, where American B-17s and B-24s had just unleashed their loads. Flak bursts dotted the heavens in angry black puffs, and the distant rattle of machine guns echoed through the frozen void. But on this day, something new pierced the chaos. The sleek, silver forms of North American P-51 Mustangs, their drop tanks glinting in the sun as they danced among the bombers, all the way from England to the German capital and back. For years, the Luftwaffe had ruled these skies with impunity. German pilots, veterans of the Blitzkrieg and the early triumphs over Poland, France, and the Low Countries, had grown accustomed to intercepting Allied bombers at leisure. The American daylight raids of 1943 had been costly for the attackers, formations of flying fortresses limping home riddled with holes, crews lost to the unforgiving defenses of Messerschmitt Bf-109s and Focke-Wulf 190s. The bombers could reach deep into the Reich, but only up to a point. Beyond the range of their escorting P-47 Thunderbolts and P-38 Lightnings, the heavy bombers flew alone, vulnerable to the predatory swarms of the Jagdwaffe. German fighter pilots expected the familiar pattern: wait for the escorts to turn back for want of fuel, then strike the unprotected stream with devastating frontal attacks. It was a grim calculus of war, one that had bled the United States 8th Air Force white, forcing pauses in the campaign and claims of near victory from the Luftwaffe High Command. Yet on this March morning, as pilots of Jagdgeschwader 11 and 26 scrambled from their bases around Berlin, they encountered the impossible. Climbing through the flak to intercept, they spotted not just the lumbering Wehrnotz, the four-engine bombers, but agile single-engine fighters weaving protectively around them, even over the capital itself. These were no short-range Thunderbolts forced to peel away early. These were Mustangs, Merlin-powered marvels with auxiliary drop tanks that extended their reach to over 800 miles. The 354th Fighter Group, freshly equipped with P-51Bs, had taken over escort duties from the departing P-47s, allowing the bombers uninterrupted protection to the target and home. German radio chatter filled with disbelief. American fighters, deep in the heart of the Reich, aggressive and unrelenting. The shock rippled through the Luftwaffe ranks. Reich Marshal Hermann Göring, who had once boasted that no enemy aircraft would ever reach Berlin, or that his name was not Göring but Meyer, now faced the bitter reality of his prophecy fulfilled in reverse. Reports flooded in of Mustangs not merely escorting, but hunting, diving on German interceptors with superior speed and maneuverability at high altitude. In the engagements that day, the Americans claimed 17 enemy aircraft destroyed, while the bombers pressed their attack with reduced losses. Luftwaffe pilots accustomed to dictating the terms of battle found themselves outmatched in endurance and performance. The P-51's laminar flow wing and Packard-built Merlin engine allowed it to outperform the Bf-109G and FW-190A in most regimes above 20,000 feet, turning the hunter into the hunted. Documented accounts from the period capture the profound dismay. One Luftwaffe staff officer later recalled measuring the fuel capacity of a captured drop tank, calculating with a slide rule that these American fighters could indeed loiter over Berlin and return. General Adolf Galland, the brilliant commander of Germany's fighters, reflected post-war on the strategic earthquake. The arrival of long-range escorts tipped the balance irrevocably. Göring himself, in interrogations after the war, admitted that when American fighters reached as far as Hanover and soon Berlin, the need for desperate measures like jet development became clear. The Luftwaffe's fighter force, already strained by attrition on multiple fronts, now faced sustained combat without sanctuary. Pilot losses mounted, experienced aces fell to the relentless Mustangs, and replacements lacked the training to compete. This encounter marked a transformation in the air war. German pilots, once infused with the ideology of invincibility under Nazi socialism, now confronted the material superiority of a distant democracy. The Mustangs symbolized not just technological prowess, but the boundless resources of American industry, factories untouched by war, churning out thousands of aircraft, engines, and the precious high-octane fuel that powered them. Recurring in pilot reports and gun camera footage was the gleam of those external drop tanks jettisoned like empty shells before combat, a vivid emblem of abundance. Where German fighters rationed every liter of scarce aviation spirit, squeezed by Allied bombings of synthetic plants and Romanian oil fields, the Americans arrived with fuel to spare, engaging freely and pursuing relentlessly. Those drop tanks, discarded in glittering arcs over German soil, became a haunting symbol, the inexhaustible reach of a nation that could afford to throw away what others desperately needed. The psychological shift was profound. Luftwaffe morale, already fraying from the Eastern Front and nightly RAF raids, cracked further. Pilots who believed in the Reich's aerial supremacy now flew with the knowledge that no corner of the fatherland was safe. The ideology of racial and technological superiority crumbled against the evidence of the skies. Gallant later noted that freeing Allied fighters from close escort to offensive sweeps sealed the Luftwaffe's fate. By summer, P-51 groups dominated, claiming thousands of victories and enabling the destruction of Germany's aircraft in the air and on the ground. In the end, those Mustangs over Berlin heralded a larger truth. The air war was not won by fanaticism alone, nor by boasts of the unbreakable will, but by the quiet power of abundance. Factories humming across an ocean, resources flowing without end, and a society that, for all its flaws, could sustain such effort through freedom's resilient engine. The drop tanks fell empty to the earth below, but what they represented endured. The capacity to reach far, fight hard, and return home again and again, until the skies belonged not to tyranny, but to those who defended liberty with unrelenting might. In that cold March light, over a city shrouded in smoke, the tide turned, not with fanfare, but with the steady roar of engines that refused to turn back.